The Poponi Hotel is home to the Caution family, who opened it in 1967. It still retains much of the character and charm that it had then. Carol Caution came here 20 years ago to work as a waitress. She liked the place so much she decided to marry the owner and has never looked back. Her husband Lars looks after the paperwork associated with the day-to-day running of the hotel, whilst she looks after the needs of the guest.
For a hot shower, that's by the swimming pool. We've got a hot shower there.
With such a diversity of cultures living in close proximity with the hotel, how important was their relationship with the locals?
I've had a very good relationship with them. Really, the whole 20 years I've been here, they've been supplying me with fish. I'd hope the village felt we were fair in how we did our business. I mean, we're in their environment, so it goes back to that whole thing of looking at your environment and knowing where you are and considering it before you build or before you do a business. We've got a very good project going with the flip-flops. And this project collected all the flip-flops, because we get a lot of flip-flops in the rubbish on the beach, because they float. And what they do is they collected the flip-flops and they gave them to the women, and they make all kinds of wonderful things out of them, which really puts money back into the community. They make lovely flip-flop curtains, they make bags, they make key rings. And the ladies do that, so they get some money from sitting at home, and they just carve up the flip-flops into fish shapes or turtles, and they do mobiles, they do aeroplanes. And some of them are really quite artistic. And it's using the rubbish off the beach, and it's also putting money back into the community.
One of the Poponi's largest projects is turtle conservation, a subject very close to Carol's heart.
A young guy called David Olendo, who's working for Bamburi Trust, really lovely man, arrived one day with a basket full of eggs. He'd been going up the whole coast trying to get hotels involved in protecting the turtles by collecting nests off the beach and then going to specific hotels and asking them if they would translocate them into the hotel grounds and look after them. So showed us how to do it. It's by digging a cylindrical hole in the ground, so it's the exact same way as the mother dropped the eggs into the hole. We covered them up and put a little bit of chicken wire around it, and the eggs hatched about 50 days later, which actually happened to be just around New Year, so there was lots of people to see it. So once I saw them, I was hooked, really.
These turtles were caught in fishermen's nets and brought to the hotel to be examined and tagged before being released. Evidence that the locals really do understand the value in protecting the turtles. For a small fee, the guests have the honour of releasing the turtles back into the wild. John Hemingway wrote of the Poponi, "If I want to escape, I close my eyes and dream of Poponi. Swimming at dawn on the world's most beautiful beach, mornings in which I can bombard myself in discoveries, Islamic Swahili history, Dao culture, natural history, and below the very blue sea, eccentric expatriates joining me in the bar for scrapings of fried coconut, tall glasses of lime juice." That tradition has not changed. Day 5 and the little toot calls into one of Kenya's most northern islands, Kiwayu. For centuries, the Bay of Kiwayu has been the calling point for Arab dhows trading ivory, carpets and carved chest, travelling between Arabia, Mombasa and Zanzibar, and returning with pure water from the local wells. High on the sands of this coral island is the Munira Island camp. The island is only accessible by boat or by helicopter. Its appearance is a welcome relief for both fishermen and crew, a chance to relax and let one's hair down. The waters are too shallow for Little Toot to moor alongside the jetty, so the hotel sends out a ferryman to collect the guests from their boat. The crew make last-minute plans for the following day's fishing before embarking on the canoe ride to the island. It's a journey not for the faint-hearted. Once on the island, the guests face a gruelling 100-metre climb to the hotel reception through soft sand. Happily, the hotel porters carry your bags to the top. Kiwayu is surrounded by a marine reserve protected by the Kenya Wildlife Service, and to the north and west, the adjacent Dodori and Boni game reserves. These wild areas are vital to the protection of the fauna and flora of eastern Kenya. There are few places in the world which can boast such total seclusion, visited only by the dhows that come to collect the water and the occasional sports fishermen in search of the magnificent marlin.
We can come in here and moor in the evening and enjoy the facilities which are here, which is basically a very old-fashioned safari camp. I always consider it about the 1900s in design and its operation, although it's moved on a little bit now. This is the first year we've had flush toilets. Before it was a hole in the ground.
Home on the island is a banda built in the local Bajuni tradition, with a palm roof and carpeted floor. Each has its own bedroom shower with running water. Either side of the hut has magnificent views over both the sheltered lagoon and the Indian Ocean.
The particular thing here, just a few minutes ago, I'd been walking a wonderful beach on the island. It's about 1.5 miles, 2 miles long. Beautiful blue water, and I was the second person on it. That is something that you can't get anywhere else in the world, and I'm hoping it will never be sport. I don't want to see it like the beaches at Mombasa, which are grossly overcrowded with people, and that then restricts the number of people that can come here and enjoy it. It's no more expensive for me to sit here or sit in Lamu or Mombasa. It's just the logistics of getting here that makes it hard and keeps the numbers down. And they mustn't change that logistics, because that makes it rather special.
The solitude, peace and tranquility of this unique hotel is only shattered by the occasional clink of glasses and the orchestra of rasping cicadas and the croaking tree frog. The island's mangroves provide a home for a spectacular variety of birds. The lagoons are the ideal habitat for every marine fly fisher, including the kingfishers. If you are lucky, you will hear the cry of the fish eagle and the chatter of the hundreds of carmine bee-eaters as they swoop over the headlands, whilst waxbills and specs weaver flitter from tree to tree among the miles of sand dunes.